Yeah, because I know, I mean, I don't really have a problem talking about it.
Yeah, because like, listen, if I was shot in the back of the head, I wouldn't be able to order a coffee without telling somebody. You know what I mean? Like everything,
right.
everything that I did, they'd be like, oh, you want me to bring you coffee? I'd be like, listen, I got shot in the head. Could you bring it quick? You know what I mean? Like I would use it for everything.
Not today,
So I'm guessing you didn't watch the show I asked you to watch.
Nope.
Right.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I didn't know it was for you. If you told me it was for like to discuss on the pod, I would have. But I haven't watched anything this week.
I know. So there's a show on Netflix called New York Homicide.
Uh-huh.
And it's really good. And I was watching it. I'm like, wow, this is a really good show because it's like, it has the New York characters with the murder stuff that I love. So I'm like, this is just, and New York
True
City.
crime.
Yeah. So our friend was basically there's a place called Carnegie Deli in New York City, and it's like a famous, is it a Jewish deli?
It's an institution. Yeah. I mean, it's like literally the size of like this area, and it's like, you know, quintessential New York deli,
pastrami,
high sandwiches, pickles, fries. It's right across the street from Carnegie Hall. It's it's a very famous place in New York, very busy place.
Yeah. So on the 5th floor of that, there was a woman who sold weed, and basically our friend was a hairstylist. He was a hairstylist for Sopranos, but he was also a hairstylist before that, back then, obviously. And he went up to her apartment to
buy weed,
to get some weed from her.
But
and
it
like,
was saying. And it was saying that, like, normally when people would come buy weed, it was always, like, a party. Like, you'd come into her apartment, you would talk, you would hang out for a little bit. Like, it wasn't like a pass the money, pass it and go. So, and this was a place where, like, it was very normal to see other people that you didn't know but that were familiar come into the apartment. And apparently these guys that did this knew the girl that had been there before. So nothing was alarming to anybody at that time.
Yeah, and what happened was, I forget exact details of the stories, but basically they planned. So the one guy told the other guy, we're just going to rob them. They got up there. He said he took the girl whose place it was and put her in a separate room. She had like a music studio, and he said, put your head on the floor or whatever. Like, and then outside, he told the other 4 people, put your heads on the floor or whatever. And then the other guy said all of a sudden he heard a gunshot in the other room. So now he knows that girl is dead. And then they came out and they shot all 4 of the other people in the back of the head, and then they took the stuff and they ran.
Right. And they were saying that initially one of the guys said that the partner had told him, like, we're not going to hurt anybody. I know where everything is. I'm just going to grab it and I'm going to go. But then the guy was saying that he panicked that everybody had seen his face, which is why he realized he probably should do what he did. And 3 people died, and there was 2 survivors, Anthony and this other woman.
Yeah, and again, like, knowing Anthony, I mean, it's crazy how to not. I would have never had.
He came to work 3 years later.
Yeah, he was just hanging out. Like, we'd always go out.
You would never have known, too.
Yeah, we're at all the fucking.
I remember him showing me the scar in the back of his head, though.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, but it was under his hair and everything.
Holy shit, man. But yeah, anybody who wants to learn more about this, it's what's the name of the show exactly? It's
Homicide,
on Netflix.
New
Homicide,
York.
New York.
And the first installment is called Carnegie Deli Massacre.
Yeah, but they're all very good, and I highly recommend the show.
Rob hates when people recommend shows and recommend things, so
I don't hate
yeah,
when people,
you said
I love
you don't
when people
like,
recommend stuff.
You
When
say
it's
you don't,
shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You don't recommend garbage to
okay,
me.
well,
Do you know people who like
you
being...
didn't let me finish my sentence.
Do you know people who like to be recommended garbage? I'm going to recommend a restaurant to you later.
Rob's recommending this because he doesn't like when people recommend bad things, so obviously it's good. You didn't let me finish what I was saying.
I don't think you were going to say that, but I think I steered you. In that.
You'll never know.
Yeah.
Because you cut me off. You'll never know.
All right, let's call Anthony.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Anthony. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I got Jamie Lynn here, too.
Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Jamie. Oh, I thought you were going to totally surprise her, not even tell her.
I surprised her like 30 seconds ago, and then I was like, now we're going to call Anthony.
Oh, it's so nice to hear your voice.
It's really nice to hear yours, too. You guys all moved.
We did.
We're in Texas now.
Do you like Austin?
We do.
Yeah.
We love it.
I never liked LA. I was a New York guy, you know?
I know. I mean, I love New York too. The only thing I like here is the weather.
Of course.
You can keep the people. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah. So yeah, I just told Jamie that I was watching the show, like laying in bed, and all of a sudden there you were talking about how you survived this. It was insane. I had no idea.
Really? I never told you the story?
No, I don't remember you ever telling me the story.
I remember you and I talking about it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't really have a problem talking about it. So if anybody ever asks, I'm like, I have no problem.
Yeah, because listen, if I was shot in the back of the head, I wouldn't be able to order a coffee without telling somebody. You know what I mean? Like everything,
Right.
everything that I did, they'd be like, oh, you want me to bring you coffee? I'd be like, listen, I got shot in the head. Could you bring it quick? You know what I mean? Like I would use it for everything. Like how does that? Does it still affect your life to this day? Like what is the response been like? I want to know everything.
Some things like, I kind of think about, well, okay, well, now they know where I am, you know what I mean? And if they had I shouldn't even say this, give them any ideas, but a friend that they wanted to send out here to,
Right.
take care of me or something for testifying. But, hey, you know what? You did something that was really fucked up.
Yes.
Can I swear or not swear?
You can
whatever you
absolutely
want.
swear.
Okay. So, you deserve what you got. I mean, did you really think you were going to get away with it? Come on.
Of course, yeah.
Not at this day and age, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and what about is it ever anything where like loud noises freak you out, or is there any kind of like PTSD in that way from it?
Yeah, and I'm actually thinking of going to see somebody only because since the interview and everything, it's gone back to like if I hear noises at night or something like that, because I live by myself, so any little thing kind of like jolts me up to see, what's going on.
So do you
And I even do things like outside my little front gate because I have a little front yard before you enter my apartment, and I put bells on the gate. I put this really sticky stuff around the door frame that, so that little critters can't get in and stuff like that. But it makes such a noise when you open the door that it's like a little, heads up. So I've done stuff like that. So I guess I can say that I do have, some PTSD.
Do you think that doing this interview for this program is what brought it up, or has this been since it happened?
I'd say it's woken it up because I did have it in the beginning a little bit.
Of course.
And I was happy. They wanted me to take Paxil and everything, the doctors, and I kind of fought with him. Also because I just lost 80 pounds, so I was like, I'm not gaining weight on some pill, you know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah.
So I kind of fought with him and said, I'm happy to be alive. I don't, feel anything. I didn't see anything because I kept my face. They told me to put my face down into the rug, and I didn't give them any reason to do anything to me. But even though they did anyways. So what do you call it? Yeah, so I have no recollection of any kind of gore or anything like that. So I didn't really have severe. The only thing I felt was if I was walking down the street in New York and there was like a group of like thugs or something like that, I would cross the street. That kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
And being alone in my apartment in New York, that's why I ended up moving to downtown Jersey City. Every little creak in that apartment, I couldn't sleep at all. So,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's life changing. I mean, in all of the ways. Like that's just like a miracle you survived, but it's always a part of you.
Right. I mean, I swear my mother and God one was on each shoulder, watching over me.
For sure. What is so obviously like the shot goes off, and then what is the next thing you remember, or do you remember all of it?
Well, I never lost consciousness as far as I know. I just kind of kept busy, like in my spot, because I was in a pool of blood, and I didn't know if the bullet was still in me, or if I moved, would it get lodged or something like that, or I didn't want to be paralyzed, or if I didn't know if I was going to survive. So I got my hands free once they fled the apartment, and I got my cell phone that was in my pocket and called 911. I called my partner at the time. I called my friend Paul. I just kept making phone calls just to stay conscious, and all of which went to voicemail. I was like, oh, of course,
Oh,
this time, and everybody's like, letting it go to voicemail.
So me and you were both big weed guys, and you went to this, her house to get weed. What does like is weed that something that then like when you're going through the recovery of all this stuff, it helps you, or is it something where you go like now that this happened, like I'm staying away from weed for a while, or like how does this change the relationship to like weed in your life?
Well, back then, after it happened, I had 24-hour protection. Like I had two detectives that were like in my apartment. I had a studio on 48th Street, and I was in bed sleeping, and they were on my sofa, all night long. And this one woman detective that I had, and I hate it that I forget her name, but because I loved her so much, she said to me, so Anthony, are you going to keep smoking? And I was like, right now, no. Or if I do, I don't want to be the one to buy it, or I don't want to have to go anywhere to buy it. I want, either somebody to bring it to me or something. And she was like, oh, come on, Anthony. She's like, the minute I retire, which was in November of that year, and this happened in May, she said, I'm going to buy a pound. She was so, I loved her so much. She was so great. I mean, she even wanted to give me her apartment in Stuyvesant Town, and she was really pretty amazing. All the detectives I had were amazing.
So how long after it happens and then you're recovering, you're back in your apartment, how long was it before they caught the guys?
Well, one, they thought I should go get out of town for a little while. So I went to my father's. He was living in Seattle, Washington at the time. So myself and my partner went out there for a couple of weeks, but we were only there a week, and a detective came to get me because the other guy turned himself in. The taller of the two. I forget the other one's name. One was Sean Sally, and the other one, I forget the other one's name.
Andre Smith.
Andre, exactly. He turned himself in. So,
and you had known these guys before?
No. Oh no, I've never met them before.
You've never met them before.
No, I didn't know anybody in that apartment that night except Jennifer. Mm-hmm. Like her friends that were there from St. John for a wedding. I didn't know them, and I didn't know her trainer. The only one I knew was Jennifer. So, I think I got off that. Where was I?
Sorry, that was me. I interrupted you.
What's crazy is like her boyfriend was a guy who was like a certain height with dreadlocks, and it turned out like the guy who was the killer was a certain height with dreadlocks. So everybody was like, well, yeah, it was obviously her boyfriend because they were like fighting the night. Like it was like the perfect
setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But I knew her boyfriend, and he was so nice. I mean, I knew, when they said it's their boy, I was like, no, it's not him. Definitely not him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he was just too nice of a guy. He was always so nice to me every time I went there. So if he was going to be an asshole, he would be, you could tell like early on.
And
the
you
other
basically
one was just unhinged.
And you basically went to her apartment to cut her hair, and she would give you some weed, right?
Right, but I mean that night I was going for an actor that I was working with at the time. He wanted some pot, so I was like, "Oh, I'll go get you some."
Wow, fucking actors, man!
Right, and so I was like, "All right, I'll go by." And then I talked to Jennifer on the phone, and she was like, "Okay, yeah, bring your scissors." And so it was like that. I mean, we used to barter sometimes, her and I, but it was so cool. I mean, back in the day, she was the one that had like the menu before any of the dispensaries opened up with all these menus of all these kinds,
Wow.
She really had, I mean, it was expensive, but it was a really great pot.
Yeah. And it's a great cover up that like she lives on top of the deli because there's always people in and out of a Carnegie deli. There's always people, so you don't have that like, the attention being drawn.
Right. But that day, that was the first time ever that when I got there, I was like, oh my God, they installed security cameras.
Wow.
Because they had never had those ever before.
That's right. And it's crazy how far we've come, because what year was that? 90 or
2001.
2001, and one of the cops was like, this was the first case I ever worked on that had security cameras. And you think that was 24 years ago, and now it's like...
So Anthony, when did you start working on Sopranos?
I came in the middle of season 5.
So 2004?
I think so, because we finished it in 2006, right?
Yeah.
Or 2007, 2006.
Yeah.
I know, because basically
so it was
the 6th season was 2 seasons, really. They just didn't want to say season 7.
Right.
Yeah.
It was A and B.
So it was fairly recently after this, all though. Like, you know,
right.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize how recent it had
Fresh
been.
it was, right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had gone back to Guiding Light because I was at Guiding Light for 3 years. So I went back to there for a little while, but I was so bored there. Just like I wanted to go back into film and, television. Actually, I think Sopranos or Sex and the City might have been first, I think.
Yeah.
But that was my first television show that I did, was Sex and the City, I think.
So on a lighter note, do you want to tell people, there's a lot of Sopranos fans who listen to this. Do you want to tell them what it was like being the, what's the proper name for the hair guy? Stylist?
Hairstylist.
Yeah, hairstylist on...
Key hair?
Key hair guy.
Key hair would have been my second.
Right.
But yeah, our department head hairstylist, yeah.
So you want to tell people what it was like being the hairstylist on Sopranos?
Amazing. And I swear if it was still going, I would have never left.
Yep.
If it didn't end, I would have been there. I loved everybody. I think it was the most amazing cast, first of all, and crew. I mean, it was a family. It really was. And I loved everybody. And the only one I didn't like was Agent Orange. I didn't like her at all.
I don't even remember who that is.
Agent Orange.
She was the one that had was like kind of like the FBI agent with Drea.
Oh,
you didn't like her?
It was Karen or something like that. Oh, she was so nasty to me.
Really?
She was the only one that ever gave me a problem with her.
Wow. She was really picky about her hair?
There was, because David Chase wanted it a certain way, and she didn't want it that way. And I was like, listen, that's how it has to be.
Right.
And she would like fight me on it. And then she would do like this baby talk to me.
Ew.
And I wanted to like wring her neck.
Ew. Ew.
Oh, I couldn't stand
it's
her.
probably that stuck out so much too because everybody else was just like not that way at all.
Right.
See, I pull that card.
Like nobody here acts like that, so you can't act like that.
I'd pull that card all the time. She's baby talking to me. I'd be like, I've been shot in the head, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just fucking.
Right.
So, I want to know, because everybody knows. Like, we always talk about Tony Sirico was crazy about his hair. What do you remember? Do you have any?
Did he ever let you touch his head?
He was the only. I mean, I think I was one of the only ones that he would let touch him.
Wow.
And it built up after a while. Like he gained my trust. I gained his trust.
Right.
And he would because at first he would make me show him the mirror all the time, and he would let me point it out, and he would do it himself, and then he would let me do it. I think as he started to lose a little bit more, he would let me take care of it, and he was a great guy.
Oh yeah.
The only thing is, if you stood next to him, you smell like CK1 the rest of the day.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've talked about that here many times.
So besides Agent Orange, like outside of Sopranos, is there any celebrity you've worked with who is just like the fucking worst?
Oh, Rob.
The worst. I don't think I can say that.
Yeah, you're still in the industry.
You threw Agent Orange right under the bus. I figured it was fair game.
But you just said major celebrity.
Yeah. Well, is there one celebrity you'd feel comfortable saying that you worked with and you would not like to work with them again? How's that?
I don't know. I don't really hold a grudge, even though, they may have been a problem one time. Because there was one that was a problem at one time that I thought I would never want to work with her again. And then I ended up covering for her, or doing her for this low budget movie just for like a day because the other person that was doing her couldn't do her. So, and I was like, are you sure? Because I don't think we really ended all that well. And she was like, oh no, she's totally fine with it. So who knows? You know what I mean? Like, but I don't want to out her either. There were just like two, one guy and one woman. And, that were kind of like difficult.
Well, hair and makeup people, I mean, more than any other crew members, especially the actors, that's who you spend the most intimate time with and like so much time in your chair. That's got to be a bummer to really just not like the person that you're having to spend all that time with. Yeah.
Do you remember?
I mean, my friend Bernadette, who does makeup for movies, she would like, if she didn't like something, she would pass them on to her assistant.
That's the move.
She would do them once, and if it didn't work, she'd be like, okay, you're going to go see her tomorrow.
She earned her stripes to do that.
What?
She earned her stripes to be able to do that.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Do you remember that we might have had a bottle of Jägermeister hidden in your trailer that when we would wrap, we would go take shots of?
Really?
Yeah, me and Bruno. Remember, Bruno had a bottle of Jägermeister hidden in the...
for Friday nights, for Fridays?
Any night that we were, that I was done, because it wasn't a lot of like back-to-back days. So as soon as I was done wrap, it was like bink, like time to drink. But it's interesting to hear
Where did you guys hide it? I never knew that.
There was like right when you walked in, there was like a cabinet. Like there were tons of cabinets in there, and he just had a bottle of Jaeger in there.
That is so funny. I never saw it.
And then so it's interesting to hear you because there's like obviously when I did Sopranos, I wasn't really like versed in show business. So to me, I was like, this is the best cast and crew ever. But it's so great to hear people who have worked with tons of people who also are like, no, that was the best cast and crew ever.
I would never trade them for the world. I wish we could have been together forever.
Me too.
And it saddens me when I hear that, people are starting to like, go away from us. And it's really sad.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Tough.
It really was like, I don't know if that attributed to its like epic success, like, and the way it's regarded, or if it just so happened to be that we were lucky enough to be a part of something that is critically acclaimed, but also was so awesome, like just such an awesome place to work. I don't know. I don't know if they go hand in hand or if we just all got lucky, but we were.
I don't know. I mean, we had Marchetti that would like, he's still like the grand poobah that keeps
we have
everything
to have him on too.
If we're in LA, we'll hit you up. We'll go grab lunch.
Okay, sounds great.
Bye,
all right,
Anthony.
so good to talk to you. Thanks,
bye, guys.
Anthony.
Love you so much.
Love you.
Love you, buddy.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, I remember him one day, like on the set, telling me this story. But like, even just sitting here reading through this, I just thought it was like a very quick thing. Like I didn't realize the extent.
You got to watch
gosh.
it. And anybody who's into this genre of TV, like
everyone's
this is
into
just
true crime now, I feel like.
Yeah, or it's like people are like, nah, fuck it. Like I don't, because like
really?
I feel like I need to stop watching it when I start watching it because it puts me in a dark place. Because once I start, I'm like, I'll do 6 episodes in one night where I'm just like, I just want to.
But you know what's weird? I finally finished Fargo, and I can get through that in right before bed and no problem.
Yeah, well, Fargo's great because
the
it's like
first
fake.
2 times I was like, I have to watch something else, but then I was like, I'm fine.
Well, also it's different when it's fake. You know what I mean? This is like, hey, your friend got shot in the back of the head, and I'm like, I'm going to bed, dude.
Yeah,
like it's a little, but like. Even watching shit in like, Central, like there's one like a Central Park murder that's so fucking good. Like all of it is just so good. But then you're like,
it's well made. You're saying the show's well produced.
Yeah, very well made. Like it's just the story. What it is you have, I think I said this, but you have the story and then you have the New York detectives and the characters and this, and they're just very like, they're not PC. Like, they're like, hey, he was a fucking idiot. Like, it's just good. It's
New
good.
York cops are their own breed.
Yeah, all right. Well, we got to transition out of this somehow back to the
anyway.
So I wanted, like, obviously the producers of a show hear the idea of a show and they think it's going to be good or bad. Are there shows that have come out in the past where, as a producer, you would have been totally wrong? Like for instance, mine is like Dr. Pimple Popper. Like
you'd be like, no way will this ever be successful.
If I was a fucking producer and somebody came to me and was like, I have an idea. You watch people's pimples get popped, and like I'd be like, you're fired. Like nobody will ever watch that, and it's a huge show, So I just like, are there shows where you go like, and also are there shows where you go because like even Real Housewives, I'd be like, who wants to listen to these like?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I would have said Real Housewives. Like who wants to watch like a bunch of women living in New Jersey like.
Yeah.
Talk about their family and their kids.
Like how many
Cut
lemons?
To season 87 when it's like,
Yeah, where it's like, how many lemons do I put in this vase? And you're like, what the fuck is you even talking about? But then like somehow it just fucking catches
lemons
on.
in a vase.
Yeah.
Wow, you see a lot of lemons in vases around?
That's what they were doing on Real Housewives.
Really?
Yeah, the woman in Beverly Hills was like, there has to be 8 lemons in my vase. I'm like, what the fuck is this lady talking about?
So weird. So weird.
But yeah, I feel like 90 Day Fiance, I would have known right away that was going to be a hit. Like if somebody brought me the idea of 90 Day Fiance, I'd be like, you got a raise.
Yeah.
90 Day Fiance, strong.
That's your number one.
It depends because some seasons are really good and some seasons are so bad. But the good
Full seasons are bad.
Or like,
because
let's say
the characters are bad, the people are bad.
Like let's say there's 6 stories. Sometimes one of them is good and the other 5 are awful. And I'm like, I can't fast forward through fucking 5.
Reality stars are a breed, and not everyone is made for reality television. And I think it's a very specific talent. I also think you have to really not care enough about certain parts of your life to do it too.
Yeah, but I think there's
to leave it up for such judgment.
I think there's different
and manipulation.
Breeds, like I think there's people who very much are calculated on reality TV, and then there's just people who really are themselves, and that's because when you see the calculated people, you're like, I don't like. It's just like but
it never works out for them because then there's always some real life drama, and they don't know how to manipulate it or cover it up, and they either react like Kyle Richards, where she's mad that everybody's asking her about it, even though she's on a reality show and just showing her family for 15 years,
Yeah. We got a memory lane.
Yes. Okay.
Wow.
I know what this is.
Really? I have no fucking clue.
That's the only time I had red hair.
I didn't even notice. I thought that was brown.
I was doing Cinderella at Madison Square Garden. This is when that was 2000.
Dude, if you would have told me, I'm going to say, I'll say 2000 is good too, but if you would have said I went to see Cinderella at Madison Square Garden, I would have bet my life.
You probably came to the after party.
No, of course I would have come. I wouldn't just come to the after party. I went to see you in all your Beauty and the Beast and what else? You did other stuff too.
Yeah.
I went to see that one where like you and the broads were just like talking in chairs.
Yeah.
But this, was that like vagina monologues or something?
It was not vagina monologue. Love, loss, and what I wore.
Yeah. It's vagina monologue. I would have, I don't recognize this.
Okay, I say 2000 after party of Cinderella.
2001 it says celebration of Cinderella at 151.
Club 151. That was Aton's place.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
Or at least that's where I met Aton, I think.
I might be a virgin right there. That might be like right. What's the date exactly? That might be right before I lost my virginity. I still have that innocent look. I feel. I feel like it was taken. It was taken from me right after this.
The darkness has not taken over.
Yeah. What is the? Does it have an exact date?
We're looking.
Oh, okay. All right, Jamie. I got something. I got something new for the show.
Bring it.
I got something new. We're gonna try something every now and then called the box office game. I'm sure people have done this before, but I give you 2 movies, and you gotta tell me which one do you think made more at the box office.
Okay.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Jim Carrey, or Waterboy, Adam Sandler.
Waterboy.
See, I thought it was fucking Ace Ventura.
Sandler's
for sure.
a bigger box office.
But I thought
right?
Ace Ventura, I think it did double.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I thought Ace Ventura changed the game.
I bet was like a creeper. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's DVD. A cult classic. Like people picked up on it, but Sandler opens a movie, everybody's going.
Right.
In my opinion.
I just if you would have asked me in any way what was the bigger movie, Ace Ventura or Waterboy?
Yeah, but I think regarded probably Ace Ventura as like a better comedy and more classic that way. But we're just talking strict box office numbers here. Yeah.
I feel like there was like a year where you couldn't function without hearing people either imitate,
quoting it,
quote, like Halloween. It was like every fucking buddy was Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
Did we get a date on that?
Yeah, it looks like it's May 4th, 2001.
May 4th, 2001. I think I just turned 16.
Do you remember the day you lost your virginity?
No, but I think that's 2 months after. So yeah, I think I'm a virgin. I could just tell by my face, you could tell that virgin face.
Weird.
What else do you want to tell? Do you wait, can we double check on that? Sorry, the Ace Ventura and Waterboy box office numbers. I just want to make sure I'm right cuz
Ace Ventura had 107.2 million and Waterboy
189.
Waterboy was 190.
190. Yeah. Doof.
Sandler. That's why he's got that big Netflix deal.
I feel I don't know, I just have a memory of Ace Ventura was one of the biggest movies of all time, I felt like. Taylor Swift had one of the greatest videos of all time. Or no, Beyonce. Beyonce had one of the greatest videos of all
Kanye.
time. Here's something I wanted to talk to you about that I'm very interested in. How do you decide on your kids' bedtime? Like, because obviously, what time your kids go to bed at 7:30?
When they're babies, you get on like a schedule, you know, and you're recommended that they need 11 to 12 hours of sleep, whatever. My kids still get 11 hours of sleep. Like
they crush sleep.
Because I base it on their energy and mood. Like, I can tell by 6:45 Jack is cranky and done. Bo could stay up later, but they sleep in the same bed. They go to bed together. So like I'm done with both of them by 7:30. Like 7:30 is the latest Jack can stay up, and Bo will go to sleep around that time. So, but you know, as Bo has one more year of elementary school. So when he's in middle school and he can wake up later, then I'll let him stay up later. That's how I'm doing it.
Okay, and then do you think
because they have to wake up at 6 a.m. for school now, so they're in bed by 7:30.
So 7:30 is
because also
weekdays.
I go to bed at 8:30, so I'd like at least an hour.
That's what I'm saying. Last night at 9 p.m., you were like, "What should I order for dinner? Like, should I order this for dinner?" I'm like, 9 o'clock at night, Jane. That was wild.
Cutter wasn't home, so I think I was oddly just like up.
I don't think I've ever heard you at 9 p.m. like, yeah, I'm ready for dinner.
Never.
That was so
I don't have my phone
late.
in my hand. I'm like, I put my phone in a charger away at 8:15 and don't look at it again. Yeah,
that's what I was. Where Cutter's New York?
No, he was. He's going next week, but he was out with friends.
Okay.
He told I didn't remember because I took like a melatonin, and then I texted him at some point, just what are you doing? Like no exclamation, no punctuation, no nothing. Just what are you doing?
Yeah.
He's like, I was a little worried about you for a second.
Yeah, you get real affected by anything out of the ordinary in your system.
Yes.
You're like, you're all. I remember, we've talked about this, but you used to be half a glass of champagne. And you're like, I gotta go, Rob. You're like, help me walk out of here. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, I'm fucked up.
Cheap date.
So when sorry, I just had a little spaz. When you're thinking about something like the bedtime for the kids, what parent is that? Like a mommy
mutual.
and dad thing or a mutual thing?
Yeah, we're on the same page.
And what about let's say you guys invested into a stock, right? And let's say you put money in and the money goes up double, and you say like, I think we should pull some out, and Cutter's like, no, I think we should keep it going. Like how do you decide on that when you're married? I wouldn't know.
That's not a conversation we've ever had. We don't talk about that type of stuff. When it comes to like a renovation in our house, right? Or something like that, I will say to him, what's a budget where we're not feeling strapped for cash, that we're comfortable, that no matter what comes our way in the next year, this won't affect us. And he'll give me the number, and then I'll go. And then he'll still be annoying and ask me and tell me that it should be less, even though he gave me a number, and I just ignore it.
Right. Yeah.
And roll my eyes.
Cutter's the best at that. He'll text me like, should we do this? And I'm like, yeah, sounds good. And I'm neurotic, but he'll be like, should we do this? I'm like, yeah, sounds good. And he's like, what about this? And I'm like, no, I just told you that thing. It sounds good. And but then he has a little any in him, where then he tells me like, oh, I was just doing that to mess with you. You know?
Yeah. Don't buy it.
I'm like, what? What do you mean mess with me? Like oh my God, it's the best.
He gets on the kids for being like, ugh, every time every time like I give them food.
Oh yeah.
Guess where they get it from?
Yeah.
A little salty. A little hot, a little spicy, every time.
If I cooked for a 10-year-old kid and he told me something was a little salty, I'd throw him out a window.
Yeah, my 10-year-old doesn't say that to me. It's my 34-year-old husband.
Right, but you remember when he said the food you made him look like diarrhea?
Well,
remember
we
talked about that? It did, but still, like, because I watched the behind the scenes. I watched you cook for like 4 hours, making chili.
You saw why I snapped.
Yeah, I mean, listen, compared to what you did, I think it was. So yeah, I'm thinking about what my dad would have done. I would have been dead.
Yeah.
We got to call him real soon. But
yeah, we're due for a call with Dad.
I think that's a
wow.
That's an episode.
Real life survivor of a execution style. That's crazy to me. I did not know those details.
Yeah, all right guys, that's a show. We'll see you next week.